Hello and welcome back to another episode, and something really exciting happened last week. Sony announced a brand new camera, the Sony A7S III. Now if you're not really into cameras that much, you can probably stop watching at this point, but if you continue watching, you could learn something new today. So I have been a loyal Canon customer for a very long time. My very first camera was a Canon, and the DSLR that I use even today is a Canon DSLR. I think you can see it over here. I've advocated Canon for a very long time. In fact, if anyone's asked me what camera to buy, I've always recommended a Canon camera to them. And most of my professional work was shot on a Canon 5D Mark IV because I knew the kind of quality I'd get out of it and it was a very trustworthy camera. But it wasn't my dream camera though. That would be a Red or an Alexa.
What I use day to day has to fall into three major categories. Image quality being number one. It has to be easy to use, on set and all the way through the post-production process. Third is size and weight.
I still want to buy a Red someday, but it's really expensive. Like, even if I sell my kidneys, I still won't be able to get one. Unless you know somebody who can buy one at that rate, then you let me know. Moving on. So for those of you who aren't very familiar with production careers, cinematographers and production houses don't really own any cameras. They rent it out from rental houses as and when the requirements come in. So one day I had to go for a shoot, and the day before the shoot I went to a rental house to pick up my Canon 5D. And when I reached the store guy told me that the Canon 5D wasn't available, but a similar camera in a very similar price range was available, which was the A7S II. And he claimed that it was as good as the 5D. Now I didn't really believe him, but I didn't have a choice. So I picked up the camera, I came back, and I sat the entire night trying to figure out how this camera works. So I saw a lot of YouTube tutorials on how to operate the camera. And the next day I was on set, and it was really risky. If the image quality wasn't as good as what the Canon would give me, then my kids would probably have to sleep hungry. Yeah, the stakes were pretty high. But turns out the image quality was super impressive. It was way better than what the Canon 5D could do, and the dynamic range on this thing was too good. And that's when I jumped ship from Canon to Sony. And I've never looked at Canon ever again. This was 3 years back, and I was so impressed with the quality that I wanted to buy this camera myself. But there are a few things that held me back. Firstly, the battery on this thing was really small and could only record for 20 minutes at one go. So for any given shoot, you would have to carry 4 to 5 batteries, and if one battery got depleted, you would have to plug it in and recharge it so that you can keep shooting. And secondly, the screen on this thing could only tilt 45 degrees. So if I were to make a list of the 10 most useless inventions, this would be in that. Now this camera was launched in 2015, which meant that it was due for an upgrade for a very long time. Now Sony has these 3 branches of cameras, the A7, the A7S, and the A7R. The R I think stands for resolution and is great for photographers. The S stands for sensitivity and is great for videos and has great low light capabilities. And the A7 is a mix of both worlds. They released the A7 in 2013, the A7R in 2013, the A7S in 2014. And then the A7 II came out in 2014. The A7R II and the A7S II came out in 2015, the A7R III came out in 2017, and the A7 III came out in 2018, and the A7R4 came out in 2019, and the A7S III never came out. Since 2017, it started being speculated that the A7S III was just around the corner. In fact, someone even put up the manual for A7S III online in 2018. In fact, this camera had been anticipated in every launch event since 2017. The Cine Alta 2017, Photo Plus 2017, WPPI 2018, NAB 2018, IFA Berlin, IBC 2018, Photo Plus 2018, Sony World Photography Awards Exhibition 2018, Candor Trip 2018, and a lot more. And it never came out. In fact, Panasonic came out with the GH5 series, which was crowned the new low light king, and Canon came out with R5 and R6, which were worthy competitors of the A7S II. But hardcore Sony fans, including me, felt that the A7S III could destroy all the other cameras in the market. And after 5 years of the A7S II, we finally have a successor to this camera, and it has a great new improved battery life. I think 120 minutes is what's being speculated, and you can even plug this camera directly to power, which means you can shoot for an unlimited amount of time. And the screen now tilts all the way and shoots 4K at 120 frames per second and 1080p at 240 frames per second, and a lot more. And I think this might just be the perfect camera. I so wish I could just go out and buy it right away, but I think I'll wait till the pandemic ends. The prices would have also dropped by then. But yeah, that's all I had to share today, and I think it's a great time to be alive. And I own a Cameron. Cameron? The fuck is a Cameron?